and good afternoon. My name is Ryan Belmore. It is Wednesday, March 4th, 1:32 p.m. and just checking to make sure this thing is on. It has certainly been a while. Frank, how are you?
Who are you?
Yes.
Oh, hey. Hi, Ryan.
How was your Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa?
That was great. Been good.
All joking
Really?
aside, it has been a couple months since we've had this conversation with the superintendent because, frankly, weather and life happens.
It's just a little bit of weather.
I think that's most of it, right, Superintendent?
It is. It is. We had the weather situation, and then I think there were conflicting schedules. And yes, so here
Well, I
we
had my
are.
own weather the month before where I reside. We had 7 inches of ice, and we were losing power just about every other minute. And I didn't want to tempt it because even though I can hide on here, I think I still need to be connected in order for this to go through. So, and then of course, you all had your weather. Which
we did
a nice week off of school.
2 weeks in a row, vacation, and then the blizzard. So it's been a long haul.
Kids remember how to get back to school, or they have to look for directions?
No, they made it back. They made it back, but after a lot of effort, a lot of team effort, as far as making sure we had our bus stops, sidewalks, and all our facilities ready to accept staff and students. And it was a true team effort. And I want to thank everyone, the city, everyone for coming out and shoveling out to make sure we could open on Monday.
Who was responsible for snow removal at the schools?
I'm sorry?
Who was responsible for snow removal at the schools? Was it under the town, or was it under the schools?
We have a private vendor that comes and clears us, but we also have the city, especially for Pell Elementary School over on Dexter Street. We need a lot of clearance for the sidewalks and the multiple parking lots we have over there. So they help us out there. They also help us out over at Thompson, over along Central Street in the back, again, to make sure that the sidewalks are clear. So it's a combination of both.
Does that fall under your budget? Or does it? Okay.
Not the city, I have to say, even though, well, they might charge us, who knows? But right now, the private vendor is all under our budget.
And so I assume that, I'm sorry, just one last question on that real quickly. I assume that you had not budgeted for that kind of snow removal.
That is correct. And I'll know more probably at the end of the week or in another week or two once our bills start coming in. That is correct.
Before I jump out of the way, Frank, just wanted to ask because I noticed some school systems since COVID with the virtual learning now, or synchronized learning, or whatever you want to call it, they've kind of gotten away from snow days. What is Newport doing with snow days? Are we still building them in, or are we counting on virtual?
We build in snow days, that's a requirement from the Department of Ed. Even those that have virtual days, you have to send a plan ahead. But our committee was one of a few in the state that decided they did not want any more distance learning or virtual learning. They felt it was important to have that in-person learning. So we have snow days. So our final day, as of right now, is going to be June 30th. So we go all the way to the end, and that's if the commissioner gets the Monday and Tuesday of the blizzard week approved by the elementary and secondary council. She's seeking a waiver, and she's going to try to get a waiver for the Monday and Tuesday, since Rhode Island had a state of emergency. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Newport still had 3 remaining snow days that took us up to July 1. So we will be in session. What we're doing right now is if the commissioner gets her waiver from her council, she then sends it to the state, to the cities. I said, I'm sorry. And then from there, we put that waiver request in front of our school committee, and hopefully they will approve that. And then what we're doing in addition is, because of the instructional minutes we do on a daily basis, we have a little bit more than is required. And we're hoping if we can package that into a day or two, that might get us out the weekend before June 30th. So we wouldn't have to come back Monday and Tuesday, the 29th and the 30th. So we're
I-
doing our best.
I'm sitting here laughing because it is possible that the school year might end after you retire.
It can't, because by state law and regulation, it has to end. The school year has to end on June 30th. So I will be here up till.
Okay. I just looked up a reminder of your not your retirement, which is June 30th. So it's working right till the end.
It is. It is. There we go. And that's
all right.
That's fine.
It's all you now. I know you have lots to go, but I just wanted to talk about snow and also.
The first question is
118 days left.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Have you made plans post-retirement?
No, not at this time. I'm just, I'll be seeking new adventures. But as a matter of fact, I still have to meet with the retirement board. So I'll be doing that shortly just to better understand what my options are.
How many years have you been superintendent?
I'm going on 12 and a half years, 12 and a half.
So you are way beyond what is the normal lifespan of a superintendent.
I am.
Which I believe is about 3.5 years.
It is. And I believe I'm the longest serving Newport superintendent. Someone informed me. So
you plan to stay in education if you can?
Again, my options are open and I'm just waiting to see.
I know there are greeter jobs over at Walmart. You might want to consider that.
Okay.
So, you'll see. No, it's interesting because not only do I speak with you frequently, I speak with the superintendents from Stonington, Connecticut, Charahoe, and Westerly often. And the superintendent in Stonington actually retired this past week.
Oh, wow.
She had been planning it. She's 3.5 years. It was, she had a big birthday coming up, and she decided she was going to retire. Mary Ann Butler, I don't know if you ever met her, but
good for her. I have.
Yeah,
yes.
She's
very nice.
And she's leaving me in a real bind because Mary Ann was the one who would provide me with my reading list.
Oh, okay.
So now I have to find somebody else. That's how I stumbled on The Anxious Generation.
Okay.
But it seems like it's an incredibly tough job having to juggle so many constituencies. Mm-hmm. Where are we with the search?
The committee did put out an RFP, and they will be discussing that, I believe, at the next school committee meeting.
Well, do you know if it's been advertised yet, or is it or?
No, I don't believe they have advertised at this point because they have to decide on, the search.
Are they using? Do you know? Again, you may not. Whether their plan is to use a consultant to help them through the search or to do it internally.
I'm not sure. I've stayed out of that process. But because they put out an RFP, I would lean to most likely eventually they would have a consultant come in.
So that process is ongoing. And do you see any difference now that you're retiring? You've announced your retirement. Do you have a different feel for things in terms of the school? And do you see students and maybe faculty dealing with you differently? That's a weird question.
You mean since I announced that I was going to retire?
Really, the answer, what impact has that had on people around you?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't notice anything. I know when it first came out, I had a lot of people coming up to me, congratulating me. I had students asking me why, how come you're leaving, and things like that. But I haven't really had any impact. I think the community in Newport, it's ready for a change. We have our new facilities. The facilities are in place. And it's been a long haul, and I think it's time we see some changes.
Let me get to some practical things.
Okay.
Rogers, everything working out as you expected?
The facility itself is, yes, we still have, as you are aware, we still have some work to do as far as the landscaping, as far as the utilities underground. That's all been connected, but we still have to finish our bus routes and make sure that the I'll say the adequate parking, we have enough parking and whatnot. We've noticed that we may need to expand a little bit more on the parking. We are surprised with all the parking spaces we have. It still doesn't seem enough on some days when we have guests. I think we're learning, the good news is we're learning a lot about the building in itself and the logistics of it. It's a beautiful building. And both the front and the back of the building are very inviting and opening. So in the sense of welcoming into the building. And when you park, sometimes the back is so impressive. Some people think the back of the building is the main office and front of the building. But those logistics we're trying to figure out. And then we still have the NACTAC building where our students go over to cosmetology. They go over to automotive. We still have students that go in and out of the go in and out all over the campus. So we monitor that very carefully.
That the new building has had an impact in terms of attendance or other things academically, that there may be greater enthusiasm about coming into school?
Coming into school, we definitely saw a greater enthusiasm as far as the students. And the students have been very good about taking care of the building and respecting the building. As I mentioned at the beginning of the year, we expanded to the hallways. They're larger, and we have actual areas where groups of students can gather just for learning experiences, to go outside the classroom. Because we have the glass windows throughout the entire building, interior windows, that teachers can always see and have their eyes on the students if they are at the outside tables and in those gathering groups. And that has led to a lot more collaborative discussions with the students, more focus on academics. They use the big whiteboards in the hallways to write down their ideas. Some teachers even use that area when they want to do outside work that involves the building more, as far as what's going on. If they're doing, sometimes they've been going around the building doing data collections or things like that. The attendance is still a challenge for us, to be frank. We're still having some challenges for certain groups of students that, may have difficulty as far as their family experiences, et cetera. So we're still working on that. But Director Andrade, who oversees the attendance initiative and policy, she's been doing a great job with the groups. And we're focusing more on some of the systems we can change to make it continue to improve. It has improved. It's not where we need to be, though.
Or have you seen any presence of ICE or any families that have been disrupted by that?
No, not at this time. I do get asked that question quite a bit from members of our community. We have not. And I understand, truly I understand the fear and the concerns that people have regarding ICE. And we have been purposeful about making sure our front desk, our front of our building, the staff in the front all know how to address any situations if they do occur. We have not had a single occurrence from any ICE, nor have we had any ICE seen around any of our buildings.
What is the policy of the schools?
The policy of the schools is we do not release any children to anyone that is not on the emergency contact list. And we have a protocol in which people have to show identification. There's certain things they have to go through. We do not allow anyone into the building that doesn't have any right to be there. So we have holding areas in all our buildings as far as someone that comes looking for any students or has any questions. We're not allowed to answer any questions whether a student or child is in a building that day. Our teachers know that as well. That's part of Family Education Rights Protection Act, Privacy Act, I'm sorry, which is FERPA. So we are all aware of it. I understand and know that it is a fear factor, though, still for some of our families regarding ICE.
Has there been any further discussion about merger with Middletown?
Discussions are still on the table. We're trying to be very positive about that. And we're hoping that we see a vote in the fall for regionalization. I'm not sure when the next meeting is, but I do know that the discussions are still ongoing. I believe both communities now have set up their academic, and I think they're called academic integrity committees. So I believe both of them have gone through their interviews. Both of them have their committees set up. I don't know what the next steps are, though.
When you say a vote, you hope for a vote in the fall. Do you know what that or what it might look like?
I don't know what the language on the ballot will be. I do know that in order for something to happen, this legislature needs to be presented with the language that we would put, in which each of our communities would put forward on our ballots. Of course, hopefully that's identical language, and then they would move it forward. So I would foresee, we're in March right now, I would foresee most likely April, May, we have a definitive plan in place by both communities on how we're going to move forward and at least put a vote in front of our communities.
Has there been any discussion on the use of the school buildings? Middletown is now in the process of, or leading up to building a new building. Rogers is new. Has there been any discussion on how these buildings might be used in a merge situation?
No, we haven't had any. I haven't been involved, nor have I heard of any discussions regarding the use of the buildings. I know for Rogers in our new building, as like Pell, we use it as much as possible and share it with our community for community events, for our partners events. Tonight, we're going to have the city council here. They're going to be using the Rogers, the Commons area for their city council meeting. Due to the blizzard, they had to reschedule their meeting, and they already had another meeting planned in city council chambers tonight. So they're going to have their city council meeting tonight here at Rogers.
I know Ride was very much in favor of regionalization going back. Do they still promote or favor regionalization as much as they did?
Yes. It's just, yes, because it's not sustainable the way we have it right now. The way the small communities, 37, 39, however the number you want to look at and consider, and then you have your own charter schools. The way we finance our school systems and the sustainability of communities to be able to continue to finance public education really needs a deep dive as to something that's affordable and sustainable. Right now, the way the system's set up, I applaud the Rhode Island Foundation for looking at the funding formula and for at least starting that conversation and coming up with some type of solution or next step. And I do believe those conversations do need to continue, especially when you have a state as small as Rhode Island with so many different communities and so many different local budgets that have to continue to afford the programmings.
I hear this a lot from a lot of superintendents, or the superintendents that I deal with, is that the current funding formula is certainly flawed, based more on enrollment rather than on need. How would you change it?
I think, how would I change it? That's the first time I've ever been asked this question. So I think the need is something that should be explained to the public. I do believe that public schools take on a lot more than people know or understand. I also think if you looked at how the local funding, how the funding is spread out amongst our student populations, you'll see that there are certain areas that require more funding than others, hence special education. It is something that I think some could relate it to COVID, some could just relate it to poverty, but special education is definitely an area that takes a lot of funding to sustain. We are bound as to follow federal law and regulations. So when and if you have a child that has specific needs, I do not believe the general public is clearly aware of what a school district must fund. If a child moves into your community, no matter when or what time of year, and that child requires out-of-district support or is already in out-of-district support for a tuition, let's say from $60K to $150K, that the district the child's family moves into must now support that tuition, even though it's not in the budget. When you have students that need additional services, such as our ML students, and we must have teachers that have certain certifications in order to meet the regs to support those children, that's an additional, possibly a body. If you don't have a teacher that's dual certified, that has that certification, and you have to bring in other bodies to cover those services we must provide to children. The other thing is, I don't think a lot of people know that in the early ages of our children, we have children that have significant needs throughout the entire state in all districts that have either feeding tubes or aren't toilet trained, all of those things. In a public school, it takes in all those children. We're like the Statue of Liberty. We take all that come across our front doors and we do our best to make sure we can provide them a quality education. Where the funds go, like they always say, follow the money. See where the most spending is in most school districts, or what the percentage is. And then I think you need to address that. Public schools take on a lot of responsibility, more so than when I was growing up in the dinosaur days, that most families or your families would take care of some of these things. That's not the way it is anymore. We have all good things that help support children. We have the Molar Express that comes. We have dentistry that comes in. We have doctors that come in. We have different things that come into our public schools to help support them so that we have healthy children. But there's a lot of different services that public schools provide that in the past they may not have.
So it's my understanding that RIDE will reimburse schools or pay about 53% or so for special education. Is that a correct number?
What happens is, and my director of student services is much better at this, RIDE puts aside a pot of money for high-end special needs costs for districts. That pot of money does not expand with the number of students. So each year, I believe there's, this is my understanding, each year there's money set aside for high-cost special needs students. And then all the districts identify and everyone has a different, what is considered high-end special needs in your district. And then you all file for that money. It doesn't mean you get that money. It means you get a percentage of what's in the pot after everyone files for it.
I understand, and I may be wrong, for point of comparison, if I look to Connecticut or to Massachusetts, they fund special ed at about 100%.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know the answer. I don't know that one at all. And I'm surprised that any district nationwide is funding special ed at 100%. That surprises me.
I'll have to double check it, but that's what I have heard from other superintendents. But it's well worth checking to make sure. But
Definitely.
they've certainly funded at a better level than we do in Rhode Island.
Yes. Yes. It's not that. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think it's from lack of trying or lack of effort. There's only so many resources. And there's just a lot of need, to the point with what you heard from other superintendents. It's not necessarily about the number of students you have, it's about the need. And I've always said this, no matter what district I've served, you could have 5 children that have more need than 25 children. It just depends upon what the need is of each of those children. So when someone says, it makes the comment, well, you used to have 35 students in this category, and now you only have 15. And I'll be like, that is correct, but their needs are very different, and their needs are more costly than they were with the 35.
So I've been mentoring a sophomore in the Lincoln school system who wants to become a journalist. I keep trying to convince him there are other things you can do. She's putting together a story that's very interesting, looking at it from a sophomore's perspective of the amount of stress that's put on the young high school students who are now faced with a lot of standardized tests, far more homework than they ever had, and that is impeding on some of their social development. It could be very self-serving on the part of the student, but in fact, that a lot of time is being taken from other areas where, in fact, they need to also be able to mature and to learn from. Do you see any validity in that?
I think young people, no matter what, are always under a lot of stress. They're in a very different world. They're in, I should say, or worlds, considering the one they live in day to day. And then there's social media. You have to remember, these are young people that grew up with cell phones, that grew up a lot different than when I grew up and others. So I think if there aren't parameters around what they do, just like the old days, if you don't have guardrails and if you don't have parameters about what you're exposed to and what they're exposed to on a daily basis, then it is extremely stressful for them. I think standardized tests have always been around. So standardized tests have always been a challenge for high school students. Standardized tests aren't necessarily needed at all college and universities applications now. So that's a little different. So we do have that to say about, their stresses. I do think the social media, though, I'm not for it at all. Cell phones, it's, and then thank goodness we have moved to no cell phones at the high school at all during the school day, but it still causes a problem at other times of day.
We have legislation that was passed in Rhode Island that goes into effect next year, I think, or has it gone into effect?
I believe it gave most school districts, or it gave everyone a year, get a policy in place, and then you can implement it. But that's the most. Yeah. Yeah. We knew then, my committee was very proactive, and they decided they wanted it ended. So we did a practice run. And then this year we started this school year without cell phones at the high school. And we have noticed a huge difference in student behavior and student interactions. Very, very positive, all positive.
Saw something where an interview on TV was talking about his son, who couldn't bring his cell phone into the classroom, and he asked his son, what the difference was, and he says, "Well, I talk to people at lunch now." So
it is.
Which is a huge difference. Ryan, did you have any questions?
No, I was popping on because I heard the 2:00 bell come on. So I know that the superintendent is going to be on bus duty here soon.
Oh, no, I don't have it anymore.
Whoa! Oh,
Look at that.
already kicking your feet back.
I know I didn't mean it that way, but no, I don't have it anymore. My thing was when we opened, we wanted to see where we need the staffing, and I volunteered. And now that they've kind of figured out where we need adults and et cetera, and where the manpower was needed. So I'm good
All right.
now.
Yeah, I want you to think about this. You don't have to answer me this time around, but a question that certainly I'm going to ask over the next month or two is for you to dig deep in your memory of this 12 and a half years in the Newport schools, as the superintendent of schools. Those 3 or 4 things that stand out as highlights in your career. What is it that you will take with you as your greatest memories?
Okay, so I'll think about that. There's just so many.
I'm sure.
We'll have to get to that one next month. And I will just put it out there, just get you on the record, because I know you can't comment on it. But there was the incident at Rogers High School, and just wondering if you had any updates or anything else that was public.
I believe, and I know the chair did come out with a public statement. The executive summary and recommendations for Rogers High School moving forward. Those recommendations are already in the works. We're looking at a reorg of Rogers High School as far as how we address student behaviors, discipline, implementing and enforcing our rules, and just an overall, we're working on all the recommendations. So for the staff and the administration, they'll be having a faculty meeting on Thursday, and I know they're going over quite a few of those things then and there.
Are there things that you want to add or events that you'd like to mention?
Well, April 2nd, we did plan on a family dinner at Pell, and it was during the Blizzard week, and that has been switched to April 2nd. Most of our other events we're going to have in the newsletter today. We're trying to get together all the rescheduled dates. So we do have those coming forward. And
please have your attention.
Sorry.
Any students who are in the building need to be with a teacher.
There we go. I was just about to mute you, but we want to make sure that we don't put anybody's name out there. So that's why the superintendent mutes herself, or I try to mute her ahead of time as there's public school announcements. So that's what we're going through right now. So
yeah, exactly. And sometimes we need to find a little one, either mom or dad, or someone's at the front door waiting for them. So.
And we don't want them to find out here.
Yes, exactly.
So the newsletter will come out this afternoon. I'll be sure to share it and spread it. Anything else?
No, I think for now that's about it. We're focusing on our strategic plan. Where our budget, we're still having budget struggles. We have our finance working group will be together. We're putting together different scenarios, options to consider going forward in order to balance that budget. When I arrived, the district was 900 in the hole when I arrived. I was hoping when I left that we would be in a more positive position. We're not at this point in time. We did use our education fund to help with finishing the Rogers High School project. So that has left us with no contingency funds. So we do have a fund balance, and that's a decision from the school committee if they want to use some of that fund balance going forward. We don't have enough in the fund balance to cover what our forecasted gap is. I want to be really clear. As of this moment, we're not in a deficit, but our forecast is by the time we get through with June, we may and we will have a gap.
What do you know what you're projecting as the size of that gap?
It's at this moment in time, without using any reserves or anything like that, I believe it's a little over 2 million, but I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look at my paper on that one.
And how much is in the fund balance?
Depends upon who you talk to, but no, really, it's about 600K. 600 to 900. There's a verbal commitment for 300 from the committee, but 900K. I'll say 900.
There's a formula, right? That you're supposed to use for a fund balance. Not that you keep it, but I thought there was some sort of a formula that was in place.
No, we don't have a formula. Ideally, we'd have 1 to 3%, and we did at one point in time, but we don't at this time.
And one last question, just more academically. I was sitting with a student from Wesley High School who was in an internship program at Electric Boat, 3 days a week, earning $25 an hour as a high school senior at Electric Boat. And then when he gets out of school this June, we'll go full time at Electric Boat. It's something like 33 an hour or whatever. I'm wondering, I'm wondering how sophisticated the internship program is in Newport.
Oh, we have quite an extensive one as far as the culinary program's concerned, as far as in all our restaurants. We too have looked at that Electric Boat one. For our students, we would put them in a van and take them over. And I know Carrie Clark has reached out to our students to see, they are offering, Electric Boat is offering a program for students that are now, I believe, juniors. And between their junior year and senior year summer, we can do something there. We do have some, we've been very lucky in the construction business as far as having our students go into internships there and then have jobs. The automotive program, they have a list of jobs available for our students when they graduate. They're waiting for them to graduate. So automotive, carpentry, culinary. We've been very successful in cosmetology as far as our students getting their licenses, and then they can go right into a salon and either rent a chair or work somewhere. And then we're looking at our cybersecurity program, which we really think a lot of our students should get more involved in. And we have a program with CCRI where they can go right into the cybersecurity program over there, and they come out making $70,000 to $80,000 when they graduate. So those are the things I think when parents, we try to get the word out to parents and to families about what the possibilities are, and we're continuing to work on these programs.
Brian, do you have any other questions?
No, I think we hit them all. We're going to chat next when it's nice and beautiful and warm and springy and daffodilly out. And,
That's right.
We got a couple more of these remaining. We'll talk offline about when our last one is and
okay.
how to wrap all this up.
All right. Well, it's so nice to see both of you. Thank you for the opportunity, and let's hope for warmer weather.
That's it. No more snow. All right,
no more snow. We're done.
Right.
Take care.
That is Superintendent Colleen Burns Jermain. We appreciate her taking the time to join us for her monthly conversation, which she has been doing. I'm going to have to look this up before our next chat. She's been doing this for several years now with us.
It really is great to see that. And she doesn't dodge any questions. She's been very straightforward in her answers. And I really appreciate that from somebody in a position like that, who's willing to be out there and to be open and honest with the community.
And I do want to, you said open with answers. There are times that we recognize that she just can't talk about things and she can't go deeper. So there is no sense in us wasting our time, her time, your time with trying to press her, for example, on something that she legally cannot go any further on. So that's why we do not push any further, because we're not looking to get anybody in trouble or play gotcha or anything like that. So she actually gave us more information than I thought she would regarding the incident at Rogers High School, which people can read more about on whatsupnoop.com. But we're respectful here, and we recognize where people can go and where they can't go.
Limitations. So she also, I thought, a major news piece today was where we're at with merger discussions with Middletown, and the fact that they're looking to go to the legislature with some language and be on the ballot in the fall.
Yeah, something interesting there is, and I believe I'm going to have a conversation with Representative Lauren Carson, but session is moving quick. So if they're going to get this on a November ballot, it's going to go through the State House, and if it's going to do that, then, you know, I imagine that the language is going to pass through there very, very soon, because session does not go forever. So
They have a mandate to end by, is it the end of June? I'm not sure exactly, but and bills have bills have to get in pretty quickly.
yeah. So it might already be up there. She might already be carrying it. Trying to button her down for a time. So I will let everybody, including you, Frank, know about that to see if you want to join us.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right.
Lots of great issues with Lauren. You know, short-term rentals is a big deal that she's been working on. Love to catch up with that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, my friend. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and I'll talk to you in just a minute or two.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. On behalf of Frank Prosnitz, as well as myself, we want to thank Superintendent Colleen Burns Jermain for joining us. If you missed any portion of this conversation, want to watch it again, want to share it, want to listen to it, read about it, share it, all of that good stuff, all available on whatsupnewt.com. I'll turn it into a story as well as some audio here in just a short while. The superintendent joins us just about this time every month. Of course, there's been some snow and ice over the last couple of months, so we've missed her. And we'll continue chatting with her. Looks like we may have 3 more chats with her before she rides off into the sunset of retirement. So we'll chat with her April, May, and June, and we'll keep the conversation going with her. Thanks for watching.